What you expect? What you expect? Straight up. Didn't Boondocks, the cartoon Boondocks, you know, let us all know what was gonna go on with Thuggalicious? Straight up. What you expect? I'm just trying to understand. When you saw, because I know some of you all have seen these two young black men on the internet, because it's trending now, you know what I'm saying? With skirts on. What did you expect? They've been feminizing our men, as well as hip hop. I mean, in the 90s, this has been going on for eons. I mean, come on, let's just be real. You know, you see, Generation X don't want to talk about this. They don't want to talk about how, you know, back in the 90s, you know, they had our women wearing Tim boots, baggy pants, looking like the men. I want to talk about that. You go back to the 90s and look at the early videos of TLC, Mary J. Blige, and just basically all of the R&B singers and rappers that were women. They were looking like men back in the 90s, no lie. MC Lyte, the video, Gotta Have a Roughneck, she looked like a roughneck. She had on Tim boots, baggy pants, and a vest. Looking like a man, straight up. So what do you expect? What do you expect when you see two young black men cosplaying as women? Straight up. What you expect? And they're from Atlanta. Like, that type of behavior, I can see if it was going on in Houston, but Atlanta, this is a dead giveaway for me. I mean, I used to live in Atlanta. I used to see all types of that type of stuff down there. If you think that's bad, two young black men wearing skirts, I've seen worse. Straight up. I've seen a lot of him downstairs in Atlanta. A lot of men that are on the DL. Straight up. You want to see that type of behavior in Atlanta? Go to Dunwoody, specifically Perimeter Mall, if I'm not mistaken, that's the name of the mall. Or go to Buckhead, Lenox Mall, on that area. And then after that, go downtown, right up the street from where Piedmont Park is at, and you'll see all of that going on. That type of behavior. Straight up. The Transformers more than meets the eyes. The Transformers, guys that's in disguise. You see a whole lot of that stuff going on. Like, I'm just trying to understand. The cartoon Boondocks, the episode Thuggalicious, didn't Aaron Gruder, the producer of Boondocks, didn't he let us know, didn't he warn us that this type of behavior was going to go on in the near future? I just want to understand this. Why is it so shocking and surprising to see two young black men dressed in a skirt? Please make me understand that. It's obvious that these two black men, young black men that is, didn't have a father in their lives, let alone a father figure. Straight up. That's real talk. And it's the funny thing about it is there are people, men, young black men out there that's defending them. They're saying, oh man, you know, it ain't nothing but, you know, like in the movie Gladiators, you know, like when the Greeks, the Romans, I think it was the Romans, they fought, you know, in the arena and everything. They're saying it's one of them skirts. And I'm saying to my mind, no, man, you don't want to say that. Because the Greeks and Romans were, they was feminine. They were feminine. And they were pederast as well, too. You know what gymnasium means? It means to exercise naked. Straight up. Like they were getting busy in the saunas and the steam rooms. That's real talk if you know where I'm coming from. So that's not a good example to use when you want to, you know, say, you know what, well, it ain't no different from what the Greeks and Romans did. Oh, okay. You want to go down that alley? Be my guest. But that's real talk, man. What do you expect? What do you expect from two young black men wearing a skirt that it's obvious they didn't have a father in their life, let alone a father figure. 1. 2, they from Atlanta. And 3, they're living in a city that birthed a rapper called Young Thug that actually wore a dress. Straight up. Looking like Shirley Temple. I know some, that she may be before your time. But look at what the boy, the man, Young Thug, had a dress on, a Shirley Temple dress, with holding an umbrella, smiling like this. Come on, what do you expect? That's real talk. Everybody knows this that lives in Atlanta, that you don't go to Piedmont Park after dark. Straight up. And you may say, well, Langston, what are you talking about? And how do you know about not going to Piedmont Park after dark? Well, I've seen, they've had stories on the news of things that happen at Piedmont Park after dark. Like, come on, man. We all know that Atlanta gets down like that. So it's not shocking. And this is typical behavior coming from 2 young black men that it's obvious they ain't had no father figure in their life. Straight up. And if they did, it was a little too late. Straight up. I remember when I was 16 years old, man. I say this. By the time my moms and I saw eye to eye, and what I mean by eye to eye, we was the same height, she couldn't do shit with me. Straight up. I was skipping school. I was doing some of everything. And it wasn't a goddamn thing she could do about it. You want to know why? Because I lack discipline. I lack order. And the only discipline and order that a young black man can get, or someone can give to a young black man, is a father. A man in the house. Straight up. So you can't blame it on the women. I see a whole lot of black content creators on YouTube taking on this story and blaming it on the women. Last time I checked, a woman has a vagina in between her leg, not a penis. And that's real shit. In other words, what I'm saying is a woman cannot teach a boy how to be a man. It is a man's job to do that. And if that man, for whatever the fuck reason, is not in his son's life, there's still no excuse. See, the problem is, it's our fault. We failed them. Whenever you see a young black man walking around with a purse, a skirt on, or whatever, and being feminine, it's our fault. We weren't there in their lives. And it's a harsh reality because we as black men don't want to admit it. We don't want to admit that we've let our sons down, but we have. It's just that plain and simple. Now, there's some exceptions to the rules. There are some young boys or young black men that grow up and they're feminine and this is how they've been from the cradle, and that's how they're going to be all the way up to the grave. So I'm not referring to those to them, because it's nothing you could do with them. They're going to be who and what they are regardless. No, I'm talking about the young black men, such as myself, that grew up in a single parent home. And the mother was there. And the mother, she couldn't do nothing with me. She couldn't do nothing with us. And there's several different options that we black boys, well, I said at the time I was a teenager, black boy, several different streets or roads or paths we can go down. One of them being the path of homosexuality, the streets, far as selling drugs, far as doing drugs, jail, or the grave. Those are our options. When we don't have a father in the house. That's real shit. When I looked at that video, they have, not only do they have pictures of those young black men with skirts on, they also have a video with them too on the internet, circling around the internet. When I saw that, I just shook my head like, yo, it's like, what do you want me to say? Our young black men are lost. They're gone. And it's our fault as men. Oh, it's one last path too. I forgot about that path. Dead in jail. But the last one is joining a gang. Being part of a gang. Straight up. And you know what we call our young black men that's wrapped up in the streets as far as dealing, you know, gang related and all the rest of that shit? We give them a name. I've said it. And that name that we give them, we're damning them. We call them YNs. And that stands for young niggas. We just have cursed our children, man. And it's our fault. It's the man's fault. You talking about some, man, you know, that boy, he just effeminate and this and that, so, and this generation is feminine and this and that and so forth and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, true indeed, you would be feminine. If the father's not in the household and it's all you around is your mother, I mean, what do you expect the mom to do? She cannot give you, excuse me, let me take it back. She can't give that boy masculinity, masculine energy. She can only give him feminine energy. And what makes it so bad is the food that we're eating, it has estrogen in it. So the estrogen levels of these boys are extremely high and their testosterone levels are extremely low. They're not working out. They're not doing any type of outdoor activities. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit that we did when we were young. Going out there playing and basketball and football and just doing what boys do. Playing baseball. Seeing who's the strongest, who could do the most pull-ups, who could do the most push-ups. Shit like that. They're not doing any of that. Come on, man. I used to go to the gym and you know, I would bring my son with me. I hardly ever saw that shit. Men that had sons, they ain't bring their sons with them. It's crazy, man. These young black men, I just say overall, young black people, young black males, young males, straight across the board, all races. You know how many people, how many young males I've been at the gym with, in the sauna, in the steam room, and they're on some shit like, yo, I take TRT. Like, are you kidding me? Your testosterones are low as shit to the point where you're not even producing a sufficient amount of testosterone at your age? Like, you know, testosterone decreases the older you get. But when you're young, you're supposed to have a surplus of that shit. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy, but we'll sit there and blame it on the woman. Oh, it's the mother's fault. No, it's not. It's your fault. Man, you wasn't in his life. You didn't teach him how to be a man. You didn't tell him that it was wrong for him to fucking wear a man purse or a goddamn skirt. Straight up. And you're going to have the nerve to blame it on a woman. A woman, a mother can't teach a boy how to be a man. Straight up. That's real talk. Can't do it. My mother couldn't do it. I ran away from home at 16 years old. My mother couldn't do shit with me, not a goddamn thing. And I was smart. I knew that at 16 years old, based on North Carolina law, at the time I was living in North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina, based on the law, she couldn't do shit with me. She tried to call the cops on me, but the cops was like, I ran away from home. And the first place I went to was my aunt's house. And then my aunt called my mother and was like, yo, you know, he's here over here with me. And he doesn't want to go back home. And so, you know, she was like, all right, well, I'm going to call the cops and I'm going to have the cops come and get him and bring him back home. And the cops couldn't do shit. At the age of 16, in the state of North Carolina, you could run away from home. It may be younger than that. You could run away from home, get your job, all that shit. And ain't nothing they could do. The parent could do. So I can only imagine with these young boys, you know what I'm saying, are doing now. Because my moms couldn't do shit with me. No lie. I'm telling you, at 16 years old, I was wilding. The 11th grade, I went to school half of the year. And in the 12th grade, they told me in the beginning of my 12th grade year that I wasn't going to graduate on time. That I would have to do another year some shit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to go to school for lunch. And that's exactly what I did. I just went to school. I dropped out. I officially dropped out in the 11th grade. Because in the 12th grade, I just went to school just to go to lunch. And I would eat my lunch, no lie, I would eat my lunch and just leave. And my moms knew I was skipping school and I was wilding and all that shit. What could she do? You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, eventually I ran away from home and then I came back. I tried to give it some, you know, tried it out. You know what I'm saying? My mom tried to convince me, hey, you know, come back, you know. And then, you know, at the time I had a stepfather and everything. And he wasn't even no stepfather. He was just as much as a boy, a teenager as I was back in the days. You know what I'm saying? Here it is. And I don't have nothing against people that read comic books, but you in your late 30s, reading comic books with a tank top, stomach hanging all out and some boxes while eating fucking Lucky Charms and shit. Come on, man. You just as much as a kid as I am. So the reality of it is my mom's had two sons. One was me and the other one was her husband. So yeah, man, like when I saw that shit with the two boys, you know, two young black men wearing a skirt, I was just like, oh, there's another day at Piedmont Park in Atlanta. I mean, what you expect? You know what I'm saying? Young Thug, in his lyrics, he would call the blunts that he smoked dicks. I mean, this is just regular behavior for Atlanta. I don't expect nothing less, but definitely more. And I don't mean it in a good way. I'm talking about it in the most negative way. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, seriously, being that Boondocks predicted this shit, you know, with this Thuggalicious character, I'm predicting some shit in the near future if we make it as a society, if we make it that far. You know what I'm saying? But I predict in the near future, there's going to be a rapper that's going to come out and he gonna be rapping while bragging about how he got a chick and he got a boyfriend. He got a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Real talk. Straight up. And I'm dead ass serious about it too. Rappers are going to be rapping about how they got a girlfriend and a boyfriend in the near future. And it's going to be normal. And everybody's just going to be like, well, shit, what you expect? He's such and such. That's what they do. That's their generation. And we're going to make all types of excuses and all the rest of that shit. And at the end of the day, it's called bad parenting. Not from the mother, from the father. Because a woman cannot teach a boy how to be a man. You can't do it. The only thing that a woman can give is feminine energy. That's it. And don't say, oh, it's the attack, it's the feminization on the blacks and this and that and so forth. Okay, let's just say there's an agenda, right? To feminize young black men. We know it. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Straight up. What are we going to do about it? Because all I hear from my generation, Generation X, the fathers to those two young black men, all I hear is us bitching and complaining of how this generation is weak and emotional and this and that. Of course they would be, because we weren't there for them. And I'm not saying me in particular, because I'm a man about my children, in specific my son. Straight up, I'm glad that we're in the environment that we're in. You know what I'm saying? See, I get to toughen them up out here. I get to put them to work out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got a compost. We dig holes in the ground and throw the vegetables and fruit, you know, the waste that we don't eat in the ground. And you know who got to dig that hole? We walk to get the coconuts. We don't drive. We walk to get the coconuts. And yeah, I may take a ladder, something like that, if the coconut tree is too high. But you know what? You know what we gotta do? We gotta climb up them coconut trees and take the cutlass or rather machete and chop them coconuts down. And as they fall, somebody gotta be down there to grab them. And then we gotta put them shits on our back and load them shits right back to the house. That's work. That's getting him to be a man. And showing him that this is what you do as a man. Straight up. I ain't got to worry about his testosterone levels. I got him, I'm putting him to work all day, every day. Real shit. I'm teaching him how to be responsible for himself, as well as when he gets older and wants to have a family. Real shit. We should be teaching our young black men how to grow their own food. If you eat meat, how to hunt. Clean your meat and cook it. My son not only knows how to do the things that I have him doing, he knows how to cook. He washes his own clothes, he folds his own clothes, he irons his clothes, all of that. I'm teaching him how to be responsible for himself. And I'm keeping his ass off the streets, because the streets ain't got shit to offer. I know, because I was out there. And it took me so long to be a man. Because out there in the streets, I'm telling you, man, learning how to be a man out in the streets is counterproductive. Out there in the streets, you ain't gonna learn how to be a man. You're not. So I had to teach myself, man. And it was through trial and error. And I'll say this, I had a few people in my corner. One of them being my great aunt. She used to take me around, when I didn't have a job, she used to take me around different church members that she knew, houses, and drop me off. And whatever they needed me to do, I did it. Whether it was planting, I'm putting seeds in the ground, turning soil over, cleaning, you name it. She had me doing it. They had me doing it, excuse me. So yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, when I saw that picture of those young black men in the skirt, I was like, yo, yeah, that's two boys that's gone. Straight up, gone. And it's just that plain and simple. I know one thing. My sons won't be a victim. You won't see my sons walking around with a skirt and a fucking man purse. The next level is no, seriously, the next level is the pumps, the heels. That's it. And they out of here. And like I said before, and I say it again, I used to live in Atlanta, if I didn't tell you already. I've seen, if you think that that's bad, I've seen worse. I've literally seen men cosplay as women. At least that's what I say. You know, so it is what it is. This is, I guess, as you all will put it, this is the world that we live in. My name is Langston 2092.